There exists a side of you that has never been awakened, a presence so ice-cold, strategic, and unwaveringly consistent that a meeting with him now would leave you unrecognizing and unsettled. Most people mistake discipline for early alarms and clean living. They are incorrect. Authentic discipline is not a routine. It is a violent uprising against your personal frailties. It is the power to face your feelings, your exhaustion, and your justifications, and seal them away forever. Thomas Hobbes grasped this. He wrote for the tacticians, not the saints. He understood that to command authority in a disordered world, you cannot be pliable, you cannot be anticipated. You must transform into a natural phenomenon. When you cultivate real discipline, people don't merely admire you. They grow apprehensive near you. They detect a fundamental change. They observe someone who is no longer open to persuasion, a man who has ended the internal bargaining, and that frightens them, because a man who is unbreakable by his own psyche is unbreakable by anything. You are here because you are drained, not bodily tired, but spirit tired. You are wearied by your own unreliability. You are disgusted with vows to yourself that you shatter before the day is done. You watch others ascend while you remain stuck in the cycle of drive and then collapse. You seek the escape route. You seek the method to forge a mentality that is armor-plated. I will demonstrate that method, but be advised, this is not encouragement. This is eradication. We will dismantle the fragile, needy, sentimental you so the commander can surface. We will apply the merciless philosophy of Thomas Hobbes to your everyday life. By this video's conclusion, you will see why being admired is a flaw and why being respected through your discipline is supreme liberty. But listen carefully, because the answer lies not in what you bring into your life, it's in what you agree to eliminate. Most men are indentured to their cravings, indentured to their screens, indentured to the judgments of strangers. The instant you start this road, you stop being a servant, you become a sovereign. But sovereignty carries a toll. Are you ready to pay? Phase 1. The discipline of silence. Thomas Hobbes noted, "The reputation of power is power." The ordinary man discloses everything. He announces his aims. He shares his gym sessions. He declares his new chapter online before a single task is done. He chases approval for effort not yet spent. This is his downfall. He vents the pressure before the engine is warm. You must take the opposite path. You must become a phantom. True discipline demands quiet. It demands shadow. When you endlessly discuss your objectives, you are pleading for permission. You are asking the world, am I allowed to become this? Cease asking. The most formidable person present is the one who hears, observes, and speaks 0 words. When you fall silent, you generate a vacuum. People grow uncomfortable. They cast their own anxieties upon you. They speculate about your activities. They question why you no longer crave their notice. This silence is your shield. It guards your purpose. When you labor in darkness, you make errors none witness. You correct them without opinion. You forge strength without the pollution of others' uncertainty. Picture disappearing for 6 months. No proclamations, no reasons, just labor, the weights, the venture, the intellect. You sever the noise. You sever the easy dopamine. You sever the poisonous companions who only value you in weakness. And then you return, but you do not come back unchanged. You return honed, denser. Your energy feels altered. You need not tell people you transformed. They perceive it. They see it in your carriage. They hear it in your lack of words. This is the discipline of the phantom. It unnerves people because it mirrors their own absence of concentration. It reminds them that while they chased validation, you were constructing authority. Start now. Stop clarifying yourself. Explanation is the dialect of the casualty. The potent do not rationalize their deeds. They complete them. If you are weary, stay quiet and labor. If you are wounded, stay quiet and mend. If you are prevailing, stay quiet and continue. Your outcomes will announce themselves, and their volume will drown out any speech. The most dangerous man is the one who listens, watches, and says nothing. Comment below if you are prepared to enter the emptiness. I build in silence. Phase 2. Emotional transmutation. A false belief exists that disciplined individuals are machines, that they feel no ache, boredom, or grief. That is untrue. The disciplined man feels it all. He feels the pull to stay in bed. He feels the bite of dismissal. He feels the overwhelming need to stop. The distinction is, he pays no mind. Thomas Hobbes argued a leader must not be governed by feeling but must wield feeling. He stated, Men are driven by two core motivations: desire and aversion. You must apply this to your own mind. You cannot depend on loving the struggle. You will not love the struggle at 4 a.m. You will detest it. You cannot depend on zeal. Zeal is a flickering fire. A breeze snuffs it. You require something steadier. You require duty. Discipline is the craft of acting in direct contradiction to your present sentiment. It is emotional transmutation. You take the heavy anchor of "I refuse to," and you convert it into the polished steel of "I did it regardless." When you cease consulting your moods before you move, you become a threat. Consider this. If an opponent knows you only act when inspired, they simply wait until you are sad, until you are drained, and then you are vulnerable. But if you are the type who works more intensely when miserable, who trains more fiercely when heartbroken, who focuses more deeply when enraged, you become unreadable. You become invulnerable to situation. This frightens people. They watch you and wonder, why does he not quit? He should be shattered by now. They fail to grasp that you have detached action from emotion. You treat feelings like the forecast. You might glance outside and see a downpour. You note it. It is raining, but you do not cancel the mission because of rain. You wear a coat and you walk. This is the Hobbesian method for the self. You are the ruler and your emotions are the restless populace. You hear them, but you do not let them govern the state. If they revolt, you suppress them. Begin practicing the instant rule. When the alarm sounds, you have 3 seconds. If you ponder for 4, your brain will convince you to stay beneath the sheets. Your brain is wired for survival, not supremacy. It seeks comfort, not conquest. You must bypass the debate. 1, 2, 3, move. Do not think. Thought is the adversary of action. In the moment of frailty, simply move. The body must follow the order. Over time, you rewire your nervous system. You stop being a man who attempts to be good. You become a mechanism that functions irrespective of internal weather. This is how you become untouchable. When your inner state no longer dictates your outer production, you are liberated. Phase 3. The tactical use of isolation. Thomas Hobbes knew that to keep power, a ruler often had to stand apart. He wrote, "A prudent leader should rely on what he controls, not on what others control." Inspect your circle. Inspect the 5 people you see most. Are they elevating you or are they complacent? Most people dread being alone. They fill every quiet gap with podcasts, songs, texts, scrolling. They cannot sit in a room with their own thoughts because those thoughts accuse them. Their thoughts speak truth. You are wasting your capacity. To become awesomely disciplined, you must welcome isolation. You must be willing to depart from those who do not serve the mission. This sounds severe. It is. It is pitiless, but it is required. When you begin to rise, people will try to pull you down, not from hatred, but because your growth highlights their inertia. You are a reflection. When you get fit, the unfit friend feels criticized. When you build an enterprise, the idle friend feels assaulted. They will say, "You've changed. You're obsessed. You're no fun anymore." Good. Fun is the diversion of the median. You are not here for fun. You are here for command. You must grow comfortable being the antagonist in their narrative. Let them call you icy. Let them call you remote. Let them whisper that you think you're superior. You don't think you're superior. You simply have different criteria and you refuse to lower them for others' comfort. Isolation is the workshop of the exceptional. It is in solitude that you discover who you truly are without the static of others' views. You hear your own voice. You clarify your vision. You must schedule periods of total withdrawal, monk mode, deep work, name it as you will. Lock the door, power down the phone, and confront the labor. In that space you will meet demons. You will meet boredom. You will meet dread, and you will battle them. And when you win that fight in the shadows, you will step into the light with a certainty that cannot be impersonated. People sense this. They sense a man who does not need them. And paradoxically, that is what draws them to you. The man at ease alone is the man everyone seeks because he is the only one not trying to take. He is complete. Phase 4. The dread of unpredictability. Thomas Hobbes advised that a leader should never be fully predictable. It is far safer to be feared than loved because love is sustained by a fragile bond of obligation, but fear is secured by a terror of consequence that never wavers. How does this relate to discipline? When you are undisciplined, you are predictable. People know you will quit. They know you will protest. They know that with enough pressure you will bend. You are simple to manipulate because your vulnerabilities are visible. When you become disciplined, you become an anomaly in their system. You stop reacting. Someone insults you. You don't anger. You observe them, pause, and return to work. A crisis hits. You don't panic. You assess. You lose capital. You don't weep. You rebuild. This absence of reaction petrifies manipulators. They rely on your emotional swings to control you. When you remove the levers they push, they are powerless. Your consistency becomes your weapon. Envision a man who appears every single day. He does not complain. He does not boast. He simply executes year upon year. You cannot halt him. You cannot discourage him. You cannot sidetrack him. That man is terrifying because he is inevitable. You must become that man. You must become the force that cannot be negotiated with. This is not about aggression. It is about being immovable like a monolith, slow, silent, but crushing all obstruction. This demands you kill the part that craves sympathy. Stop telling people your troubles. Stop posting about your bad days. Stop looking for a comforting hand. When you seek sympathy, you expose your underside. You show the world where you can be injured. Thomas Hobbes would tell you to conceal your wounds, not from shame, but to deny your rivals the satisfaction of knowing they drew blood. Stand straight, fix your gaze, walk with intent. Even if your world is aflame, you do not let them see you sweat. This is not pretending. This is reframing. You are reframing reality. You are telling the world, I am in command, and in time you will submit. Phase 5. The standard of the absolute. Why do you fail? You fail because your standards are too low. You have accepted a reality where trying is enough. Where close is acceptable, you must raise the floor. Thomas Hobbes studied the great empires, Rome, Sparta. They did not fall from external foes. They fell because they decayed from within. They lost their discipline. They turned soft. Luxury weakened them. You exist in the most luxurious age in history. You have climate control, delivery, endless food, infinite entertainment, stimulation, sugar, drugs. All is engineered to make you soft. All is engineered to sedate you. To be disciplined now is an act of rebellion. You must declare war on comfort. You must set standards that seem irrational to others. Why wake at dawn? Why verify every detail? Why refuse that indulgence? Because I am not you. That is the internal mantra. You don't speak it, you live it. When you hold yourself to an absolute standard of excellence, you expose the mediocrity surrounding you. This is why they resent it. Your existence challenges their excuses. If you can do it, why can't they? It's easier to label you mad or obsessed than to admit their own laziness. Let them. The Hobbesian man does not stoop to be understood by fools. He compels the world to rise to meet him, or he leaves it behind. You must become ruthless with your time. Time is the sole resource you cannot regenerate. Every second spent arguing with a fool, scrolling feeds, or worrying about the uncontrollable is a second stolen from your future dominion. Guard your time like a dragon guards its hoard. Be inaccessible. Be brief. Be direct. When people realize your time is expensive, they stop wasting it. When they realize your attention is scarce, they value it. Discipline creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. By becoming so disciplined you are nearly mechanical in execution, you elevate yourself above the fray. Most compete in the average bracket. The air is thin at the summit, because few have the fortitude to breathe there, climb there. The view is different. The quiet is profound. Phase 6. The death of the former self. This is the hardest phase. This is where you conduct the funeral. To become the person who unnerves them, you must kill the person you were. You must kill the version that needs to be liked. You must kill the version that apologizes for ambition. You must look upon your past, your errors, your trauma, your shames, and you must close the door. Thomas Hobbes said, "The condition of man is a condition of war." You are at war with your former self. If you do not kill him, he will murder your future. He will drag you back into old patterns. He will whisper in your ear when things get difficult. Just rest, just one slip, just skip today. You must be ruthless. You are shedding a skin. It is painful. It leaves you raw, but it is the only way to grow. You may lose friends. You may lose a partner. You may be misunderstood by family. This is the tax on greatness. Do not complain about the tax. Pay it. For on the other side of that death is a rebirth, a version of you that is leaner, sharper, faster, a version that operates on logic, not emotion, a version that sees the world as a chessboard, not a playground. This new you is frightening. He frightens you a little, doesn't he? He should. Power is always alarming. And you are building power, not over others, that is tyranny, but over yourself. That is majesty. When you enter a room with total self-command, you vibrate at a different frequency. People yield space. They don't know why. but they know you are not to be tested. You have that look, the look of a man who has faced the void and walked through, the look of a man who has conquered his own mind. There is no greater victory. As the Stoics knew, as Hobbes knew, the man who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers a city. So what happens when you commit? When you truly become this disciplined, the noise ceases. The anxiety that has buzzed in your life for years goes silent. For anxiety springs from knowing you are unprepared. It springs from self-deceit. When disciplined, you have nothing to hide. You know who you are. You know your capability. You stop fearing the future because you are building it. You stop fearing people because they cannot outwork you. You stop fearing failure because failure is merely data for the next attempt. You become free. But it is a cold freedom, a lonely freedom. It is the freedom of the wolf on the ridge, looking down at the sheep in the pen. They are warm, they are safe, they are fed, but they are trapped. You are in the cold, you are hungry, but you are free. That is the choice today. Do you want the herd's warmth or the power of the hunt? You cannot have both. Thomas Hobbes wrote his philosophy in exile. He was stripped, tortured, cast out, and in that darkness, he wrote words that changed history. He didn't need applause, he needed truth. Your discipline is your truth, the one thing that is yours. They can take your wealth, your position, your name, but they cannot take your discipline. They cannot take your capacity to endure. That is your fortress. That is your throne. Listen, the world grows softer, louder, more chaotic. This is your edge. While they weaken, you harden. While they distract, you focus. While they seek comfort, you seek the ledge. You will scare them, not because you try, but because you are a mirror reflecting all they lack the courage to become. Let them stare. Let them murmur. Let them fear. You have work to do. The path is cold. The path is steep. You must walk it alone. But now you are ready. If you have made it this far, you are the 0.01%. You are the outlier. Prove it. Comment. I choose the cold path. And if you wish to continue this descent into the deep psychology of power, to arm your mind with weapons untaught in school, subscribe to Mindshade Dynamic and turn on notifications. We are only beginning. The old you is dead. Now go build the new one. Discipline is the silent architect of an unbreakable will.